I heard it before I even asked the question.
He lost some weight recently.
I'll see you later.
You had a good fight. Are there more?
Are you bringing more back here?
Would you like one?
I can't get out. If you would bring me one, that'd be great.
Anybody else?
My basement, my balcony.
He's like a good
Oh, Pat.
I'm oriented. How are you doing? But other than that, he's
I used to live 2 blocks from here. You did? Sherman and 7th. When I was in grade school. I went to, what is that?
Longfellow.
Longfellow. My name was Strickfellow then. It's weird. People made lots of jokes about my name then.
Hey, John.
That's why I got married. It's a dumb idea, but the name was bad. Anyway, I spent a lot of time in those foothills, and I don't want anybody messing with them, and they've already messed them up a lot.
Come on.
So I'm very enthusiastic about
my house.
After I lived on 7th and Sherman, I then lived on 7th and Fashion while I went to Western North. It's been a long time. I'm going to be 70 this year. I have senior moments. No, we don't call them names. We call them blackouts. This was written by my friend Malvina Reynolds. She got the idea from Frank Borman, an astronaut who went to and he was telling about what it was like. He said, from way up here, you can't see anything but almost something like a fragile marble of glass. You can't see famine or war. You see this beautiful fragile thing. Very interesting. She wrote this as a poem first. And Pete Seeger put the tune to it. He said he stole it from Tchaikovsky. From way up here, the world looks very small. It's just a little ball of rock and sea and sand. No bigger than my hand. From way up here, the world looks very small. They shouldn't fight it all down there, up on that little sphere. Oh, their time is short, their life is but a day. You'd think they'd find a way, you'd think they'd get along and fill their Sunday days with song. From way up here, the world looks very small. It's just a little ball down there, so beautiful and clear. All their time is short, their life is but a day. Must be a better way to spend the time that runs between those distant suns. From way up here, the world looks very small. Just a little boy down there, so beautiful and dear. So it's somebody's birthday. Whose birthday was it? Aha. And Jen had a birthday. Stand and read a birthday poem. Sing a birthday song. Love birthday. Birthday's good. The alternative is bad. This is called Cake and Ice Cream. It's written by a friend of mine named Jerry Martine, who lives in Arcata, California, and teaches Spanish. The stars in the nearby nighttime slice of the great sweet wheel of our home galaxy appear to attend our lives with a constant and bright regard. Every year with the passing of the day we were born, they come out and shine the same for us. But in the long, slantwise view across the churning hub, over toward the other side, our lives begin to lose that stellar clarity in a cloud of what we're told are billions of suns, just like our own. We call it a way. Claim to see a milk and sugar path in that pathless field of galactic blazing eyes. Even one would blind us. We light a narrow candle for every turn around our little sun. Make a wish and try to blow them out in a single breath. Between the near stars and the ones we take on faith, there is no middle distance, no halfway measure of the years they say light takes to get here. Souls are said to journey from other lives to get to this one through what we call living here, then on to the next thing we don't have names for. There appears to be no reason to hurry. No need to fear we're going too fast. We travel in constant nearness. It is always now. We are here, and then we are here. The farther we go, the more we are home. One August night on the planet where I live, I walked out on the porch under the southern sky after cake and ice cream and saw a star fall so astonishingly close and bright. Its fire began where the fire of other stars leaves off. And where its light went out, I then saw eyes, as only eyes from all the way across can ask. Sweet life, is that still you? This is a Martin birthday song. Beats the hell out of him. The Dios bendiga este día venturosa y bendiga la prenda que adoro. Y los ángeles cantan en coro por los años que cumples muy bien. Las estrellas se visten de gala y la luna se llena de encanto al saber que te día de tu santo por los años que cumples muy bien. Las estrellas se visten de gala. The stars look down on the party. Y la luna se llena de encanto. And the moon fills itself with enchantment. Al saber que te día de tu santo, they all know it's your birthday. Por los años que cumples muy bien. I'm starstruck tonight here. My friend Utah Phillips wrote this song. We did a thing together long ago when I was living in Salt Lake, probably in the early 60s, maybe 1961, 62. And it was readings taken from different people who talked about the American fondness for travel in a footloose kind of way. There's a great word that describes our, some people think of it as a sickness, but anomie, sounds like a woman's name to me. It's the condition of feeling most out of place when you're where you ought to be. People think you are. So, God, we have been in exile in our own land and a stranger in another country. We walked down little roads in Cumberland and stooped because the sky hung down so low and no place that we went was far. And always returned to us that terrible hunger that haunts and hurts Americans and makes us exiles in our own land and strangers wherever we go. Oh, I will go up and down this country, and I will go back and forth across this country, and I will go out west where the states are square. I will go to Boise and Helena and Albuquerque and the two Dakotas and all the unknown places. Oh, brother, have you heard the thunder of the fast express? Have you seen the starlight on the rails? I can hear the whistle blow high and lonesome as can be. Tonight the rain is softly falling, and if it's falling just for me, looking back along the road I traveled, all those miles, and they could tell a million tales, each year long, like a song on a freight train. Hey, it's cold as starlight on the rails. I I think about my home and my family, my house, and all the things it means. Like a small train love behind me is like a string of broken dreams. Looking back all along the road I traveled, all those miles, hey, they could tell a million tales. Each year, Lord, like some rolling freight train, it's cold as starlight on the rails. Now if you live out on the highway, ah, you're like some clock that can't tell time. And if you spend your life just rambling, you're like a song that doesn't rhyme. Looking back all along the road I traveled, all those miles, hey, they could tell a million tales. Each year, Lord, like some rolling freight train. Hey, it's cold as starlight on the rails. Yeah, it's cold as starlight on the rails. It's a little tiny story by my friend Gino Scott. You know Gino? He's been hiding out in Salt Lake, but I saw him not too long. This is called Storyteller. From Snake River Country, Alpine, Wyoming. Alpine, Wyoming. Once there was a river and a beautiful town. At the end of the valley, a dam was built. When the valley filled up with water, the town disappeared. There were never many fish in the lake, but it seemed a lot of people drowned trying to catch them. Electricity was generated at the dam, but those who were forced to move out paid their bills to an unknown company back east. One year the snows didn't come. Eventually the lake dried up. The dam seemed useless. Living a long life, an old military fortress from a previous war, where once the valley lived peacefully with the river, and the town site looked like an old storyteller who was forced to retire at an early age. My Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so fair? You may live in this garden if you keep my grasses green, and I'll return in the cool of the day. And now is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. This earth is a garden, it's the garden of my Lord, and he walks in his garden in the cool of the day. And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so pure? You may live in my garden if you keep the waters clean. And I'll return in the cool of the day. Well, now is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. This earth is a garden, it's the garden of my Lord. And he walks in his garden in the cool of the day. And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my pastures so green? You may live in this garden if you will feed my sheep. And I return in the cool of the day. And now, something is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. This earth is a garden, it's the garden of my Lord. And he walks in his garden in the cool of the day. And my Lord, he said unto me, do you like my garden so free? You may live in this garden if you keep my people free. And I'll return in the cool of the day. And now is the cool of the day. Now is the cool of the day. This earth is a garden, it's the garden of my Lord. And he walks in his garden in the cool of the day.
Thank you.
It's a song about a flower. It's called La Bruja, which is the Spanish word for witch. But in this case, it means a good witch, a curandera. It's something cures. In 1983, Lawrence Ferlinghetti took a trip to Nicaragua, and he went to an international poetry conference there. And he wrote a book about it called 7 Days in Nicaragua Libre. And he described this thing. He wrote a poem about it. He took a flower, no, he took a seed from Boris Pasternak's grave to give to Ernesto Cardenal. And when he presented the seed, another poet from Nicaragua, Fernando Silva, I think is his name, gave him a little flower, a little purple flower. And so this is a very powerful flower. It grows anywhere. It grows on the blistering lip of a volcano, and it grows in the frozen north. It grows everywhere. It can't be stopped. It's called La Bruja. And then he showed him another flower, a little white flower. called La Dormilada, the one that sleeps. He said, this is a wimpy little flower. It doesn't like to be anywhere where it's not comfortable. It doesn't like too much light. And if you touch it, it folds up. La Dormilada. All of which is by way of telling you that if I work really hard and come back as a flower, I'd rather be purple. So anyway, I read this poem and I wanted to sing it when I read it. It just seemed to me to need to be sung. So I started singing it. And then people liked it. And so I thought I'd better ask Lawrence if it was okay. Now, I met Lawrence. I knew him well enough to have him recognize me and speak to me in a kind way. He always speaks in a kind way. There's no reason on earth to be afraid of him. He's really a nice person. But I, in fact, am totally thunderstruck by all he's done and all he's written. For instance, with that poem, his idea was if you brought the seed and planted it, it would grow all over our obscene boundaries and erase them. And he's done that with poetry. He's, aside from the fact that he writes great poems, he's published people we never would have got to hear otherwise. And he started this bookstore in San Francisco called City Lights. And it has been designated a national treasure, so Barnes & Noble cannot put it out of business. I love that. So anyhow, I was afraid to ask him if it was okay. I just couldn't get it together. You don't go around making songs out of people's poems. And I was afraid he wouldn't like it. And so I put it on a tape and I took it to City Lights and I gave it to this kid I know there who sells books. And I said, would you give this to Lawrence? And he said, I've never seen Lawrence there once. I go there all the time, never seen him. He says, just a minute. And he goes away and comes back with Lawrence immediately. My tongue immediately stuck to the roof of my mouth. I couldn't think of anything to say. And he said, I don't have a tape recorder. I can't play that. Where's your guitar? That's what I said. I said, it's in my car. Go and get it, he says. So now I'm sitting in City Lights singing this to Lawrence, who is looking at me with those clear blue eyes and never moving his face. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, he really hates this. He's going to kill me. I got all done. He said, sounds better that way. And he said, why don't you sing it in Spanish? I said, I don't know any Spanish. He said, you could learn. Which is not true. I'm able to learn to speak Spanish. There's no Spanish words. Not how to communicate. I went to Spain this year. They were very kind about my Spanish. So this is the song, La Bruja, the Flower Revolution. In the fields of hunger, in the lakes of thirst, under the hills of hunger, under the volcano, wherever there is nothing, wherever there's no sign of green, like birds on the edges of volcanoes, like Arctic flowers that never fade, in the still white nights, in the nights of black coral, in the dark nights of everybody's soul, these bruja flowers, like fireflies seeking light, in the forests, in the jungles, on the beaches, on frontiers, and on mountains, in the Sierra Maestra, in our imagination, in houses and streets and alleyways, in the offices of the rich, in the restaurants of the fat and poor, in Campesino, cantinas, in the workshops of the mind, in churches full of dead popes, in the shacks and the dirt streets of Monimbo sprouts this foolhardy flower. These foolish flowers, these magic purple flowers, this so brave, so foolish flower, and it sprouts straight up in the light of a new day. It will sprout even from the barrels of a rifle's eye. It will sprout from the barrels of cannons when at last all the guns are laid down and buried in gardens. These foolish flowers, these magic purple flowers, this so brave, so foolish flor coronera, flower of revolution. These foolish flowers, these magic purple flowers, this so brave, so foolish flor coronera, flower of revolution. Okay, well, I'll sing you another quite different ecology song. I hope I can remember it. No real blackouts, please. I haven't sung it for a long time. I learned it in Florida. I learned it from a guy named Dale. Dale's last name. Come back. I see his face. Dale, I can't think of Dale's last name. He writes ecology songs, and he lives in a house that looks like it's made out of driftwood. And it's on high stilts in a swamp over near Gainesville. And I'd gone to a festival near St. Augustine. But I had a friend down there named Gamble Rogers, who was, alas, no longer with us. Drowned trying to pull some fool out of the undertow. Didn't believe it was there. Both of them. Gamble was a wonderful storyteller, a great guitar picker. And both of them were friends with Harry Cruz, to whom I'm addicted. I don't know if any of you read Harry Cruz, but if you don't, you ought to. He's not easy. He writes very harsh stuff. He's one of the people I think really knows what's going on in the United States. In some weird place in his brain related to Lenny Bruce. Who I have a great picture of in my house. Someone said, "Who is that?" I said, "He's the god of tournament." I notice his name popping up lately because there's a lot of commotion about free speech again. Somebody wrote a book about what happened to Lenny Bruce. My dog is named Lenny Bruce Peltier. If I have another dog, I'll name him Harry Cruz. Anyhow, Dale came to take me to one of the workshops I was supposed to do over there in this festival. And it was on Sunday morning. We were supposed to sing gospel songs. I'm not real good at gospel songs. And there were a lot of New Age looking people who sang about the trees and all kinds of New Age stuff. And In the meantime, in the audience, there are a whole lot of people dressed up like the Carter family who came to sing around and take a trip on that good gospel ship, and nobody would sing anything like that. It's really funny. So Dale got up and said, I'm going to sing you a gospel song. And they all brightened up, and he said it's called Gospel Snakes. I love this song, which is sort of spoken actually to a kind of swampy. I recorded it with a whole bunch of electric instruments that I really like, making this swamp music sound. I can't recreate that for you, but I kind of speak the song mostly, and then sometimes yell a little bit. And it is dedicated to the palm trees. They have about 37 kinds of palm trees down there, and they're very distinctly different. That whole place is just nothing like what you have in your mind if you think Florida is like Miami Vice. It's an ethereal, beautiful place that has plains and plains of water that are moving in different directions because the reflection of the sun. The river of grass runs through there. St. Augustine, where all the people are idly, courtly, and like you just step back to the 17th century. Well, not all the people there. Some people there who wrestle with alligators. They're very tough and sometimes really hard to do. They're the making boys. And this is about the conflict between the oddly courtly people who want things to stay the way they are, and the making boys who knock your head off with a lot of a palm tree they cut down. There's always those conflicts. I love the selection of this one. Down in the swamp in the Florida sand where the alligator rules the land, there lived a man named Jacob Joe. He was the toughest in the swamp land. Now he cared for neither God nor man except his wild and wicked clan. He had 6 boys, all big and bad, and they followed after dear old dad. Had 6 girls, big buxom gals. They danced the frolics with their pals. They danced and tripled on the hills and sometimes tippled at the stills. One day an awful rattlesnake bit the oldest boy, big wicked Jake. The poison through his veins then flew. He's gonna die, what shall we do? They sent a runner into town for to fetch a parson down. They got an Indian from Osceola's clan. He was the best in all the land. And he prayed a wondrous, curious prayer. He used words both rich and rare. Whether heaven heard it or not, on earth it surely hit the spot. For he said, for this here snake that thou hast sent to good old Jake, and fetch him down from his high horse and lead him to his Savior's cross. Oh God, he never would repent until that blessed snake thou sent. He would not mind his wicked ways until you sent us that gospel snake. And now, oh God, bring I am, please send another to bite old Sam and Rafe and Rad, the worst of rakes. Oh God, we need more gospel snakes. Then send chicken snakes to bite them gals and all their wicked dancing pals. There's Mama Joe, she needs one too. Perhaps a cottonmouth would do. And send the biggest on the globe to bite old Daddy Jacob Job, and hurry up for heaven's sake. Save this here old sunshine state. We ask this all for the palm tree's sake. Amen. Send chicken snakes, rattlesnakes, gospel snakes. love songs. This is one of my love songs. My love songs are weird. My love life is weird. I actually wrote this song in the first place for my chickens. It was, I mean, it wasn't anything strange. I love the chickens. I have to tell you how I got the chickens. I was doing a concert in Riverside, California, and this really intense guy came up to me, and he said, right after the concert, he said, "You're always talking about that cabin you live in up there in the mountains. Do you have any room up there for chickens?" I said, "I got a lot of room. Got room all over. We've got 7 acres of room. But I can't have chickens." "Don't you want any chickens?" I said, "Oh, sure. I always wanted some of those really little South American chickens that lay the green eggs." "You should have some." "No," I said, "I can't have chickens. In the first place, there's things up there that eat chickens. Owls, and hawks, and raccoons. The people bring their cats up there when they want to get rid of them. They throw them out the window, 35 miles an hour. I mean, if those cats live there, really some tough cats. They eat anything like a chicken." And there's just no way I could have. I'm never home. I'm going away right now. I'm not coming home for a long time. I'm on the road all the time. He said, "When are you coming home?" I said, "Oh, I don't know. May. I don't know, May 21st. I'm a little thick sometimes. I don't see this coming." I said, "May 21st. No, it's May 20th. I'm in Albany, New York, calling my daughter to tell her when to pick me up the next day at the airport." And she says, "Oh yeah, what do you want me to do with the chickens?" What chickens? I forgot all about this guy, right? "The ones that came in the mail." I didn't know you could send chickens. Yeah. Send them when they're just about to hatch out of the eggs. They can live for 48 hours. I almost left of the yolk. He sent me 30 chickens, 28 of them made it. She says, "They're just babies. They'll die, Mom, if you don't go and get them." I said, "I can't come and get them, you idiot. I'm in Albany, New York." She says, "Good news. The post office lady says she has a farm. She'll take them there and keep them until they come." So now I'm home, and I've gone to the chicken store. And I've got all this expensive stuff to make a brooder, a heating thing and all this stuff, and it's special food to speak. I mean, they really are those groovy little South American chickens. They have eyes like Egyptian eyes, and they look like an Egyptian. And there were some other really extraordinary, way out chickens. Polish chickens with feathers coming out of their heads. Really amazing chickens. And I spent $200 getting all that stuff. And I put them in my bedroom downstairs, my guest bedroom, actually. Didn't have any guests after that. And they ate all that expensive stuff I got them, and they brewed, large. Jumped over the brooder fence and ran all around the place. I had to go and get a whole bunch more stuff and build a chicken house inside. I put them out there, and they got bigger and bigger, and they in fact did lay those little green eggs, those are Aracanas. They're so good. The eggs are so amazingly delicious. The yolks stand up really firmly, and they don't taste like anything you can get in a store unless they're selling Aracana eggs, which I'm sure somebody does somewhere. But they laid a whole lot of eggs too, and there was trouble. All the things that I said would happen happened. You know, like the foxes and the coyotes got a couple of them. Oh, the little Polish guy got eaten by the raccoon. The raccoons have hands, you know, they can rip that wire right off that chicken. And then I went away and left my chickens with a friend of mine who was a poet, and I came back and there were too many roosters, and he had killed the 2 little dead roosters. He didn't like the way they were treating the hens. He's a poet, he's sensitive. And the snakes got him and all, and the herd kept whittling down and whittling down. And finally there were only about 7 of those hens left and 1 rooster. This rooster was a Cochin, that's a Chinese rooster. He was about 3 feet tall. And he had really shiny black-looking feathers, except when he turned just right in the sun, they were green. They were really dark green. And he was, I called him Toshiro, because he was like a samurai warrior. He strut around, take care of the hens. And in fact, he would run up at anybody who came around and skip. I'm scared of roosters too, but I just took to carrying a big stick, kind of staff, and whenever I'd hear him coming up on me, I'd turn around and just knock him out so he'd take Chickens are usually pretty stupid, but this one was smart, you know. He got so I just turn around, I didn't have to carry the stick anymore. And slam on the brakes, I'm not supposed to do that. And I loved having those chickens. I loved the funny things they did. I loved the sounds they made. I loved the eggs. They were really great. But one after another, they got nailed by something or other. Well, it's a wild place, you know. I have wild animals up there. They don't have any code of ethics about eating chickens. We don't either, you know. But we don't like to think of it in that direct kind of way that coyotes and things like that do. And finally, that Cochin bit the dust. I don't know what got him. It wasn't a coyote, because they eat everything, you know, the feathers and all. I just found him there. He'd been exsanguinated. You know, all his blood was gone. And whatever got him didn't eat him, just the blood, you know. So I figured it was a marten or an otter or a mink, one of those stealthy little guys. Maybe. Otters are aliens. And I haven't had him again. I've really been on the road a whole lot, but I'm trying to get off the road now, and I'm thinking about how much I'd like to have chickens again and those eggs. And maybe not this year, but because I still haven't really managed to extricate myself from the road. I'm addicted to it. It's hard to give it up. But maybe next year. I could have little goats too. I like little Nubian goats. They're really marvelous creatures. Anyway, when I had them, I used to go down to the co-op and I would get, in the winter, I'd get produce trash so they could have something green to eat, because they wouldn't like green eggs unless they ate green stuff. And the co-op always let me pick through all this stuff they threw away when they trimmed the produce. One day I went in there and this lady gave me a whole box of apples and pears. And chickens are really fools for fruit. They just go nuts if you bring them fruit. It's like my dog when I give him a cookie or something, you know. So I actually probably could have eaten those myself. They looked like they were pretty good shape, you know, but they had little bruises on them and stuff. I put that box in the back of my van. I had an old white step van. Ford, I think it was. Named Van Gogh. And I started driving back home and singing a little ditty to myself. when I'm bringing you apples, I'm bringing you pears. I'm going to get drunk and waltz with the bears. But as I was driving along and singing, it's 30 miles. This song took on a life of its own, and it became softer and more mysterious and strange, like love. So by the time I got about 5 miles from home, I said, this song is entirely too good for chickens. And I assigned it to the perpetrator of my then bent but not broken heart. Funny, he even recognized himself in it. I will bring you apples. I will bring you pears. I will hunt and find you in your dark and secret lairs, and you may climb up to the top of my golden stairs, and I'll bring you all my apples, love, I'll bring you all my pears. We can break some bread, my love, or we can drink some wine. We can lie down by the water where the sun and moon do shine, and you may never call me yours, and I'll never call you mine, but I will always love you when and if you have the time. And when we're growing older and our love begins to crack, I will walk away, my dear, I never will look back. Oh, I will dress in silk and lace, the color will be black. I'll make believe that I'm a train, and I'll go whistling down the track. And when perhaps you think of me sometimes throughout the years, you'll tell your friends about me, and there'll be laughter, maybe tears, but I will live all alone out west. Oh, I will waltz with bears. In your dreams I'll bring you apples. In your dreams I'll bring you pears. It's almost 10. I'll sing two more. This is a beautiful love song. I'm great. I'm going next Wednesday. I'm going to Chicago, where it is very snowy, I understand. Maybe I'll bring some of it back. We need it for the water. I'm going to Minneapolis after that. I must have lost my mind. I'm going to Brainerd, Minnesota. I mean, that's in the frozen north. It's a great place. It's where Henry Wallace declared for president. If you'll cast your minds back.
Yeah.
How many of you remember Henry Wallace? That'd be in the 40s. You know, you're not going to remember Henry Wallace. He had the Progressive Party. And, but you should know about him because his running mate was an Idaho senator named Glenn Taylor. And they didn't win, of course. Third parties never do. But Glenn Taylor ended up selling toupees called the Taylor Tupper. And they came to northern Idaho with Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie and did concerts up there to try to get everybody to vote for Henry Wallace. It's a very interesting bunch of stuff. You ought to find out about it. hard to find out. Nobody wants to tell that. Henry Wallace was really a gas. I liked him all. He's the only person who's run for president I've liked. Except maybe Adlai Stevenson, and I never thought he'd be a good president. I just thought he was a great guy. Really smart. If you're too smart, you can't be president of the United States. Everybody knows that. Anyway, I'm going to Chicago to participate in a memorial for my friend Dave Van Rock, who had the ill grace to die 2 weeks before he was supposed to sing on my farewell concert in Boston, and whom I miss very much. I knew him since 1967. This was last year he died. And he was a very well-known person in the East. I don't know whether you've ever heard him or not, but he was a really great blues player and singer, and he had an extraordinary way of presenting things. He had a very rough sound to him sometimes, and sang with great force. But he could be extraordinarily tender. And he had 3 wives, all of them splendid women, like every one of them. Very good luck with women, but it wasn't luck really. He was interested in everybody. The last wife that he had, Andrea, was very, very small. He was a very large person, Dave Van Rock. He lost 100 pounds so he wouldn't roll over and squash her. She's a great artist and a marvelous human being. The 2 of them together were just more fun than anything I can think of. And he wrote this song for her. It's a perfect love song. Beautiful. Very hard to find a perfect love song or perfect love. I believe they had it. When first I met you years ago, in another time and place, the thought came to my mind I'd never seen a kinder face, or a warmer laugh, a gentler smile, or eyes more full of light. I'd be a fool if I didn't fall in love with you that night. We've tramped around the world, my dear, and our fortune was to roam. But each place that I've been with you, that place has been my home. And if I must wander on alone, with no place to abide, I'll be content, for I was sent those wanderings by your side. The miles flow on, and I am gone to a wild and empty land, where time is like an empty room, space is like an empty hand, and the things we said, the jokes we told, are echoes in the waves. We'll meet again when hills are green in another time and place. Love that blossoms in the night, it can't stand the test of time. It ebbs and flows, it comes and goes, no reason, no reach, no rhyme. As each day becomes another day, each year another year, I'd trade a year in heaven for a day with you, my dear. And when first I met you years ago in another time and place, the thought came to my mind, I've never seen a kinder face. For a warmer laugh, a gentler smile, her eyes more full of light. I'd be a fool if I didn't fall in love with you that night. I'd be a fool if I didn't fall in love with you that night. Well, I'll end with one other of his songs. I'm practicing for Chicago. He and I used to drink together quite seriously. A lot of other people too. We were all very serious drinkers. And I did my concert in it was in Cambridge actually, not Boston. Loudon Wainwright was one of my guests. Loudon Wainwright III. And he said, "You know what there is downstairs? There's a room all full of booze." And there was. I mean, they pitched a really great party for me. He said, "But nobody's drinking it. It's come to that. They don't drink anymore." But we did. He said, "We drank a lot. And she could drink more than any of them." Jesus, forget Dave Van Ronk and Pat Sky and me and all. She could have drank all of them. I could too. But you know, that's not something, I mean, that's for young and strong. It's not for old and rolling blackouts. So I've actually quit drinking right now for, my son has to go to AA for 3 months, and so I said I wouldn't drink anything till he finished doing it. Really sounds like a drag, and I didn't want to interfere with his concentration there. We used to drink in a place called the Lion's Head, and it's on Sheridan Square. It's a really, really great place. It isn't there anymore. I mean, it's still there, but it's not called that anymore. It's called the Kettle of Fish. And the Kettle of Fish used to be on, let's see, it wasn't on Bleecker Street. It was between Bleecker and Thompson on another street there. I can't remember the name of that either. But there was a very famous folk place called the Gaslight, and the Kettle of Fish was up over it, and all the people who sang in the Gaslight came up there and drank together. And it was a little more not low class, but you know, people class. The Lion's Head was where all the writers hung around. It was right next to the Village Voice. And the Village Voice was a really great paper then. It had a whole lot of great writers writing for it. It does not continue. The standard is set then, although sometimes there was good stuff in it, but it was uniformly great then. And Pete Hamill and all the Hamill brothers hung around in there. You'd see Norman Mailer, and you'd see, I saw John Lennon in there. Different, and I thought the Clancy brothers owned it because they were there all the time, you know, and they meet you at the door. Put a glass of some kind of scotch in your hand. And a lot of Irish people hung around there, and they'd sing. It was a bar. The bar was here, and then there was a room where there was food, and they were separate. It was like a real Irish pub is, and a lot of us would get around this great big table in the back, and we'd have a ceilidh, and this is a sing around, and you drink and sing till somebody falls down. And nobody would fall down because you would be too embarrassed to be the one who did it, you know. So sometimes it would be till 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd still be in there, you know. They would close that's a 4 o'clock town anyway. You'd stay up till 4, and then they'd close the place, and we'd stay back there and sing. And you can't make that happen on a stage or hardly any place. You really can't. I heard some unbelievable singing in there. And he wrote this with that in mind. It's called Last Call. And all the incredible times we had there, and all the, there's always somebody you'd like to talk to in there. You'd never get stranded in one of those pickup kind of places. I mean, you weren't allowed to have bad manners in there. There was one guy who hit on me one time, that I didn't want to talk to. He didn't look like, he looked like a salesman or something. I just really didn't know where he was. And he's rapping at me, and he's going on this trip, and finally out of his mouth comes something I haven't heard since I was 14, which was like, you want to. What? Yeah. I don't want to. No, I don't. I had in my purse this wonderful present that my son had given me for Christmas. It was a rubber stamp that said, not approved by Rosalie Sorrells. And the other thing I had was one of those big pads of indelible purple ink, and he had a bald head. And I said, I know what I want, and it's not you. And he raised his fist as though to hit me, and 4 of the bartenders just grabbed him and threw him up the stairs. This is downstairs, but I threw him up the stairs. And you weren't allowed to have bad manners in there. And everybody was great. I felt very safe there and really loved going there. We had all these unbelievable encounters with Joe Heaney, the greatest living Gaelic singer when he was alive. Wonderful pipers came in there. Margaret Barry, the tinker lady from Ireland. God, she was wonderful. So this is like a tribute to them and all of us if we make the time to get together and talk. You don't have to drink booze, you can drink water. Pete Seeger drinks water, he calls it Adam's Ale. And now we've had another night of poetry and poses, and each one knows he'll be alone when the sacred gin mill closes. And so we'll drink another drink, each to his joy or sorrow. We'll hope the numbing drunk will last till opening time tomorrow, and then we'll stumble back again like paralytic dancers. Each knows the question he will ask, and each one knows all the answers. And so we'll drink another drink to cut the mind in sections, where answers never signify, and there aren't any questions. I broke my heart the other night. It will mend again tomorrow. If I'd have been drunk when I was born, I'd be ignorant of sorrow. And so we'll drink the final toast that never can be spoken. Here's to the heart that's smart enough to know when it's better off broken.
How was your day? Fabulous. Yeah, we've made the dances. That's why I didn't see you. That was nice. Good.
Daniel, can you toss me my jacket, please?
Sorry.
Thank you. The only way I can get out is
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wondered if you needed to beer in Boy, am I love, are they dragging you out of here? Yeah. Past your bedtime, sweet pea. I'm so glad you came. No, he did. But truthfully, it's been up one Saturday. 6 or 8. Oh, thanks for coming. They're really into Bethel. Yeah, the heart one. I love the heart one over there. Oh, yeah. Did you like that? Did you like that? We need to have you guys over dinner. We haven't there years. I'm not gonna get rid of it. I can't crack.
I bet you're real. Are you too? Are you gonna tell food? Okay, we're going to get food? Where are we going? Blind Pie the Pub. I'm really positive. Oh, I don't know.
I think they stop it.
Welcome.
The eyes now.
Did you film that whole show?
There's so many of us up
Yeah. I'm starving. What do you think? Oh, they deliver, huh? Sandwiches. What will I get though?
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Feels like every couple of days now.
I know. When was the last time I saw you?
I don't know. Yeah, birthday guy.
Let's go get some food.
Yeah.
Right. Get
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You see it open Friday and Saturday night. Because I haven't heard of it. I know what I'll get if I go to Addie. No, I ate meat. Wait, what's shiny? Oh, that's great. And I didn't get asked. I guess everybody right. Let's get that some diversity. And I thought that was everybody went together.
I have my bedtime. Thank you. Oh, what's that? Did you get a cookie? Yeah.
I'll get another
I'm sure I can. I have to dance. See, you've got to move. You've got to see. This is where we got. Wait. We got I have to like broken down. Okay, how you doing? Here. Oh, you're dueling. That's so
They're so entirely busy. That heavy is so...
No, that's so horrible.
I know.
What's open for food?
Hey, Justine, give her a bunch of money. All the money we spend at a restaurant. She can make something. And she can donate to the food buildings.
This girl, her mom sent her to school with these bags that were far too small for her.
Why don't we go to...
So I took it home with me, took the back off of it, sewed it to a big pocket. So like she had a pocket that could fit all her stuff, and then she had her bag. And this happened to be the back like section. These two pieces. But the back like piece of that. In fact, I saw her today and she was like, hey, it's really bad. Order pizza.
Let's see if they're open. Dial number and then
That's great, you gotta love
I thought they didn't get cookies though. Okay. Thanks. What time is it? You got
This doesn't even good.
They're open. Till 11. They have a great sound.
Salad bar open till 11.
Hey, Chicago's next year. What do you think about that?
I'm not that driven, but I might go along with it.
Where do you want to
I am all right. I'm from
Why don't we just go to Marie's house? Meredith.
Go to Marie? Yeah.
Please, Ross.
That's the smoky environment for Sequoia.
I have pasta.
Chinese? What do you guys want? I'm done. Done trying. I'm gonna go in my car and drive.
Before you leave, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try here.
Yeah. Actually, I came like that because I have this waffle iron here.
Yeah, my body's gone and now my memory's gone. When your memory goes, forget it. Let's go to dinner. She'll make us.
It's sick and hot, right?
I'll